Assassin's Creed Mirage is finally out. 3 years have been passed, and thanks to Ubisoft, I got the chance to already play this game for you. It brings a lot of good things back to the series, but is this enough to set a new direction, to have an impact on the series? If you know me from my German AC YouTube channel, you know how much passion and love I have for the series, so I want to share with you my honest opinion. First things first. I've played 30 hours, and oh boy, is this a love letter to the series and every Assassin's Creed fan out there. Secondly, this is of course spoiler-free, so no worries, my hooded friends, no easy secret will be shared this time. The series is getting back to the ways we knew it, to the things we loved from the series. We play in 9th century Baghdad and live the life from Basim. The assassin we already know from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, just that we witness his process from being a thief to becoming an integrated assassin. Since we're talking about thieves, I don't want to steal your time, of course. So just to give you a small reminder, I do more videos about AC Mirage and of course the AC universe. So if you don't want to miss out on that, you should definitely subscribe to my channel. But let's move on. So we basically experience a prequel to the story of Basim we got to know already in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I have to admit, this was a fine story. Of course, I don't go into detail here, but I really felt like an assassin. The way Basim gets introduced into the Hidden Ones and the way we play the life of the newborn assassin Basim gave me some flashbacks from the time I've played the Ezio trilogy for the first time. I mean, back then it wasn't called that way, but you know what I mean. The best part about the story? Everything around it, the gameplay, the side quests, the world itself seems to fit indirectly with the main story. In some ways, we even get a huge connection to an older Assassin's Creed character just in a side quest, which is nice. We also finally have some good characters with intentions and motivations that are so reasonable. That's not a big fish in terms of character presentation, but if we compare that to previous AC games, it is indeed a fresh and nice change. Same thing with Basim. We had a nice start and we see during the story how he's questioning things inside the Hidden Ones. We see some kind of character progression, which we can relate to, but also it's just scratching the surface here. Compared to the previous main character Eivor, who said yes to everything and agreed with everyone, it's a nice change anyways. And yes, this was a nice story, but don't expect something crazy dramatic a la God of War. It's just that we finally have a game where we can feel that there was a high focus on the story and that the rest of the gameplay is connecting to that. And to do the leap of faith here, let's jump into the haystack of gameplay. The gameplay is refreshing, but very different to what you saw in the recent years. Just to warn you, it's really stealth focused. There's no real reward in getting into open combat. Even 2 soldiers can strike you down easily and it's not fun, I can tell you. Imagine getting into open combat inside a military garrison full of soldiers. Pretty stupid who thinks this is possible, huh? Of course, we have some weapon and gear sets that focus on combat bony, but it's a lot easier and much more rewarding doing it in a silent way. It also feels much more connected to the story of being an assassin. The tools we need to be silent like an assassin are also shrink down. We have 6 tools and 3 skill trees. It takes longer to get all of them, but each skill and each tool is heavily impacting the way we can approach a target or how we can enter a fortress. The main benefit from this is that each tool and each skill feels so much more valuable. The first tool we receive is the throwing knife. Well, basically it's the second because the first tool is the torch. Pretty dangerous, I know, but the second tool is the throwing knife, which can eliminate enemies from the distance. During the story, we are able to select the second one, and if you select the blow dart, you don't have to kill anybody anymore. And if you upgrade the darts, they will stay on that sleep forever, which is huge if you compare that to only getting into a fortress with, for example, a throwing knife and a torch, of course. Combining the value of the tools with the announced black box missions, you really get the feeling of being an assassin. Of course, there are not like missions a la Hitman, but they provide you with so much more freedom and flexibility. You have the feeling you decide in which direction this approach is going to. Also, the collectibles feel pretty much more connected to the rest of the story. There are side quests that are even connected to characters of the main story, like Davies, for example. The early mentor from Basim who took him when he was young and taught him on how to make a living through robbing richer people. And we have the chance to steal from more people and bring him the special goods to receive some resources, for example, which is really nice. Overall, the gameplay mechanics are working. It's not an innovation, of course. It's not a big deal, but it's focused on minimal gameplay elements that have a high impact on the story and on the game, and it works definitely. I'm really happy. I had a lot of fun. The only thing I would say is not working very well gameplay wise is the climbing mechanic. I mean, you know, Assassin's Creed Mirage was planned as a DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla didn't have the best climbing system, of course, and they really tried to cover this, but they failed in my opinion. Because you will feel and you will see what I mean when you play the game. I had a lot of situations where I wanted to climb specifically onto a certain wall or onto a certain building, and the character, to be honest, fucked up somehow. So I jumped down to the ground instead, down to the next roof, or I wanted to enter a window, but then climbed upwards onto the roof, was detected by an enemy, and then the mission was over, or the mission was not over, but you know, I had to escape and run away and start the mission from the beginning, which is really frustrating in some moments. Other than that, I didn't have any big issues. The map was freezing sometimes while hovering over pictures from the Ubisoft community, but other than that, I'm really happy. I didn't have any shutdowns from the game, so I've heard that the PC players had more issues with that, but except for the climbing mechanics, I was really happy with the game performance, and also in general, of course, the world looks stunning. I don't have to tell you that. It's a Ubisoft game. The world looks stunning. You have the different districts, the richer districts, the commercial districts, then of course you have the center of the city, you have the, how's it called, the educative district. So basically you have a variety of districts that give you a lot of flexibility. You have the wilderness, you have Alamut, of course, so you see a lot of different landscapes, a lot of fresh areas you can visit all the time, which is amazing. So therefore it's a 10 out of 10 in terms of open world and yeah, level design. But what are you thinking? You've probably played this game already for a couple of hours, so let me know down below your opinion. What is your biggest pro and biggest contra of Assassin's Creed Mirage? So don't keep this video too long, I'll give you my final opinion, of course. The biggest pro for me is the whole intro sequence. The first couple of hours, the intro, very relatable to see a thief who doesn't have any home, wants to belong to somebody, wants to contribute his part to the world. Then the event I want to discuss in this review, also very relatable to all of us. It's also happening in the intro. Then the move to Alamut, a love letter to every Assassin's Creed fan, in my opinion. Seeing the progress from Basim as a thief becoming an included part of the Brotherhood. Basically, us being part of this whole experience makes this just incredible. Seeing the focus on stealth, feeling that Ubisoft Bordeaux was really trying to take everything out of this engine, to take everything out of the story so that they can go back to their roots again. And they did it definitely. I definitely had the feeling, okay, this seemed like an older Assassin's Creed game, which is modernized with modernized gameplay mechanics, of course modernized graphics as well, but it really felt like an Assassin's Creed game. I really could take my time to observe the enemy, approach the target. It wasn't all about action and, you know, raiding like an Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was really, for me as an Assassin's Creed fan from the beginning, amazing. So I really felt like back home in terms of Assassin's Creed gameplay. And the biggest pro for me is that this is showing Ubisoft and the world and all the gamers and all, of course all the fans from Assassin's Creed that it's possible to have a game that is stealthy with less action but still entertaining in any way. And this gives me the idea of, okay, imagine if this wouldn't have been in a DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So if the base, if the engine would have been better, if the engine would have been more orientated onto stealth gameplay, imagine what they could have done with the game even more. Story-wise, I can also see and feel that Darby McDevitt was part of it, partly participating on it or in it. And this gives me also a lot of hope for the future, that they will focus again more on the story. Because this game was really story-driven. I could see it and feel that. And I don't know how you feel it or how you see it, but I definitely felt, okay, Ubisoft was listening. Probably, maybe it's just a marketing move to keep the brand up. I'm not sure. Let's see when Assassin's Creed Codename Red comes out next year, which I also will cover. But what's the biggest contra for me? I mean, Basim's storyline comes too short, in my opinion. I would have loved to know more about him. I felt in very few sequences we saw his struggles, we saw his personal challenges. It was more about the, and maybe on purpose, it was more about on the order and how to fulfill the tasks from the assassin order, or the hidden ones, sorry. So I really missed that, to be honest. His development seemed accelerated, so really pushed in some ways. Of course, the game was planned as a DLC, and that's probably also the reason, because this could have been more. I would have loved to see more from Basim. And also the progress of Basim as an assassin ends pretty much after the first main target of the Order of the Ancient. We level up the ranks, but it doesn't play any significant role inside the story. I mean, gameplay-wise, yes. We get more gameplay options, we get, you know, a new outfit color, but the only story-relevant progression we can see is in Azim himself, like in his inner self. I don't want to go too much into that. Assassin-wise, there's no, like, you know, there's no ceremony. We just level up, and then we are certainly, instead of an initiate, we are a novice, we are a master, you know, like there's no, it's just happening. And then we have a new skin, and then we have maybe a new skill, but that's it. So on that point, I also miss that a lot, to be honest. But as I told you already, I see a lot of hope for the series. There are some minor negative issues, but they're just minor. So it's really worth it. Really recommendable, so go and buy it and enjoy the game. And you probably will discover then some secrets. And if you don't, then you should definitely stay on this channel and leave a thumbs up on this video. I would really appreciate it. And if you don't want to miss out those secrets, subscribe to my channel. But that was my first video on this channel, and I'm really excited to see and hear your opinion. Let's talk about that, and see you in the next video.